Hi, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself to you, but I'm going to introduce myself in a way that I've never done before. Never before. I am Sam's mother-in-law. And by the way, she's my daughter.
Also moved.
And Sam has been part of the clan for so long. I mean, there's never been a question about it. But I do get the honor of officially welcoming him into the Swaffer, Wagman, Kurzer dynasty. I'm going to digress from my speech just for a second because I have to thank Tom and Mark Swaffer, Miriam's brothers, my stepsons, for the amazing dinner, and Darlene, my daughter. That was so good. I mean, they showed us all up, didn't they? Yeah. I could never do a dinner like that. And I have to thank my husband, David.
Yeah.
Where is David? He's not even going to hear me?
He was here.
Go get him.
Oh, he can hear you.
Okay, anyway, I have to thank my husband, David, for helping our sons, as we like to call them, prepare the dinner. Okay, now back to my regular speech. On behalf of Miriam and Sam, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the celebration of their marriage. And I want to thank you for the time, resources, and incredibly complicated arrangements I think it took for you to come here to this destination wedding in Santa Cruz, California.
Woo!
Well, we know it isn't Hawaii, okay? But to us... Oh, here he is.
Hey, David.
This is the Kurzer part of his new family. Part of the Kurzer part of his new family. Okay, so we know that it's in Hawaii, but to us locals, it's paradise. We hope that you've been able to explore our spectacular beaches and redwoods, our throwback to the 60s downtown Pacific Garden Mall, our rollicking Santa Cruz beach boardwalk, and maybe even our world-famous mystery spot, which I have never been to.
St. Priya used to be a guide there.
Okay, so if you have questions about the mystery spot, ask St. Priya. Yeah, before she became a minister. Hopefully you'll leave here with a better sense of where Miriam spent her formative years and the environment that contributed to her becoming the informed, socially conscious, fun-loving, committed, beautiful and stylish and strong and articulate independent woman that she is today. Where's the tiara? When Miriam was a little girl, we had a bedtime ritual, and I'm sure many of you can relate to bedtime rituals that go on and on and on, right? So it started with me reading one of her favorite stories, like Amelia Bedelia or Goodnight Moon. The next step was, I think, getting her the 15th glass of water. And after that, I got to tuck her into her My Little Pony sheets. And then I gave her a goodnight kiss. But there was one last thing before she went to bed. I would end our nighttime ritual by telling her that I loved her more than all of the stars over Scotts Valley, which was the town that she grew up in. Yeah, Scotts Valley, yeah. Anyway, Miriam, your world has grown so much since then, as has my love for you. I love you more than all the stars over Scotts Valley, Santa Cruz, Oakland, Berkeley, and San Francisco, California, Worcester and Amherst, Massachusetts, Kampala, Uganda, and all the other exotic places Miriam has lived in or visited. Oh, sorry. That's enough of that. Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Miriam and Sam for this very special wedding celebration that they have planned for all of us. When they first told David and I that they were getting married, after I got over my shock, they told us that they had really thought through some specific goals for their wedding. Isn't that Miriam and Sam? Goals for their wedding? Okay. Thinking, discussing, negotiating, and agreeing upon goals. And they're still in love. Anyway, one of their #1 priorities was to create a fabulous, fun party for you, their beloved friends and family. And I know it may sound corny, but they really, really, really felt that way, and they're so happy. We're all so happy to have you all here, so thank you. Thank you so much. Many of you, no, well, not many of you, some of you know that on special occasions, I like to express my emotions in what some might call corny poems. Over the years, I've written several poems to Miriam in which I've expressed how much I love her and how proud I am of all of her accomplishments. If you'd like to see an example of one, I think, is it over on that table? Yeah, her life book from college that I put together when she was graduating from college is over on that table. And it contains photos and memorabilia and a poem chronicling her life. In this poem, Sam finally got honorable mention. But tonight, it's your turn to be the subject of my creative endeavors. Before I read my poem entitled Ode to Sam, I'll share my politically correct but poorly rhyming acknowledgement of Sam's relation to Miriam in that earlier poem I wrote, in which I referred to Sam as Miriam's #1 man. Okay, that was all I said then about Samuel Schlang. I considered him special, but just one of Mir's gang. Am I ever happy that I was quite wrong? And on May 2613, he's where he belongs. Right here with his partner, his lovely wife Mir, after 10 years together through good times and tears. Sam, whether you're writing your novel or planning finances, you've proven your skill at sustaining romances. Don't think I didn't work on it. You're loving, oh, this is a really important part. You're loving, you're patient, at caring a natch. You're so wise and fun-loving, you're Mir's perfect match. That's very nice. So I can raise it. Went over here.
So you can all get ready preemptively.
Okay.
Yes.
Healthy, happy, meaningful, wonderful years together.
Dad? Oh, here's my car is still open if you need to refresh.
Okay, to follow Ellen, I'm going to introduce myself, although I really doubt that I need to, because many of you were last night introduced to my 6 children, and that's pretty much who I am, especially since I retired. Most of you know that I have 6 children. They're no longer children to anyone other than me and their mother. They're wonderful, independent, self-assured, competent adults. They're all married to wonderful spouses. Some have children, making me grandparent 9 times over. Today is Miriam's turn for the attention.
Now Never
Again. She is marrying a wonderful man, Sam. Weddings are always very memorable, symbolic occasions, but this one is even more so. These are two very intelligent, independent, self-assured adults who have been committed to each other for more than 10 years. And they've gathered the data and made a reasoned decision to celebrate their relationship with this ceremony and to acquire the legal status of a married couple. How great. And how different from most of the juvenile marriage decisions of my generation. I have the very great privilege of offering a toast on their behalf. So please stand and lift your glasses to Sam and Miriam. And after you toast and drink, you need to refill because we're not done yet.
Cheers!
Last week, I received an email from Miriam in which she requested I be short, no more than 5 minutes. Now, I've always heard that if you want your event to stay on schedule, don't ask a preacher or a teacher to speak. I fit both of those categories. In fact, the other day I was sorting boxes and I came across my preaching license from the state of Tennessee that expired in 1951. And then I have had a 40-year career as a public school educator. But you know, that's nothing compared to the real problem. I am a nostalgic, addicted, 81-year-old man who is toasting his baby daughter for her wedding. And I am most proud of her. It is her wedding, and I will attempt to comply with her wishes. So I have canceled a lot of the things I was going to do. The surprise guest representative from the Los Gatos Parent Observation Nursery Program, which we regularly attended when you were 2.5, won't be here. I've canceled, and you will not get to see the videos of 8 years of Holiday Harbor houseboat trips with our family and the Ablanskis. And I won't be showing the whitewater rafting trip from Costa Rica, the one where you insisted I go down that multiple stop zip line, even though I was only 3 weeks from my 70th birthday and had no business being in those treetops. Thank you, though. I enjoyed it. I also canceled the appearance by the counselor horseback instructor from the summer horseback riding camp, which I know you remember. I've cut this toast almost as arbitrarily as Congress has cut the national budget. But it is her wedding. And I have been known to digress, I know. So I've taken my own advice, which I've given to so many teachers over my career as a professional education administrator, and I've provided myself with a stage prop to help me maintain focus. Because my focus is to toast my baby daughter. Excuse me a moment.
Where is it? Here it is. Should we hear a little dance? This way.
photographer par excellence, provided me with that prop, which I'm sharing with you, 30 years ago. Now, as father of the bride, I'd be remiss, though, not to provide advice at this auspicious time. So, I'm going to offer a word of advice. And in order to be certain it is short, I will present a one-word vocabulary review lesson. My children insist that when I say I'm going to give them one word of advice, they know a sermon is coming, and it probably won't be short. So get ready. One word. A word that's frequently used on these kinds of occasions is the word love. That word is frequently not only used, but misused. It's now lost, in my opinion, a lot of its relevance and become almost meaningless. And it deals just with feelings, and marriage commitment requires much more than feelings. I do not mean to put down love. It is perhaps the most impactful emotion us humans experience. And I've been fortunate to have experienced it many times, and those experiences are my most wonderful, nostalgic moments. But the problem is with the word love. We use it for a multitude of purposes. I love ice cream. I love the beach. I love my car. I love my daughter or son. I love my wife. Now, everyone knows those are each very different things conceptually. But nevertheless, we use the word love for each of them because it really is the only word available in contemporary English. Now, most languages other than English have different words for each of those concepts. And I remember from my very brief academic encounter with the Greek language that it, for instance, has 3 different words for different forms of love. For the sake of brevity, I'll not get into that now. Let's get back to my word review. The British, and consequently our forefathers, regularly used the word for the commitment between couples. And although it is a demonstrably better word, it has been all but dropped from our vocabulary. The word I'm speaking of is cherish. I like it better for many reasons. First of all, it's longer. It's got 7 letters instead of 4. That automatically makes it better. It's a verb, and thus it goes beyond just feelings to action. The most important reason I like it is it encompasses the feelings of love within its own meaning, and it goes well beyond. I would argue that you cannot cherish anything or anyone without first recognizing your love of it or them. Webster says cherish means to have affection for that nurtures growth of them and their independence and provides protection. That's very similar to some of the things that Supriya said today in the ceremony. The fact that we need to love in a way that nurtures the growth of the party. I believe we must cherish each other in order to nurture growth and protect each other not only physically, but emotionally. And thus, we will cherish our relationship as well as our partner. So, let's raise our glasses and proclaim together the words, cherish one another. Cherish one another.